I'm back. I'm ready to get funny. Are you ready to get funny with me? This is Funny Like Clown Podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth. And, oh, excuse me, I got a little cough in my chest here. So we're going to have to put out not good for a podcast, but we're going to go for it anyway. But been on hiatus from the podcast for a little bit. I had the release of my movie party finally. Rocking good time down at the movie theater. Big red carpet night, pictures taken. The world needs a new superhero. I'm trying to get it to you guys. You can watch the trailer on YouTube, but the actual movie we're trying to put on Amazon Prime. And we had a little snag. Anytime we release a movie in the United States, you're required by law to have subtitles for the hearing impaired, and we ain't got no subtitles, so we got to figure out how to get them in. But the director, he's got a program that can add them, but it's very time consuming. So I guess he's working on it. So hopefully sooner rather than later, we will have the movie out to you guys and you can check it out. Because I've been talking for it a long time. I'm very proud of it. Came to amazing reviews. It was really, really well received. So very excited about it. So hopefully get that out soon. February 6, 2022. This is episode 137 of Funny Like Clown Podcast. As always, it's brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. For some lightning in your mouth, go to www.gvegas.webs.com, order some up, get it shipped to your house. Nothing better than a good buffalo sauce. Who likes a good buffalo sauce? Who likes a good movie? Recently passed away comic we're about to talk about, Mr. Bob Saget, legendary American icon. And wow, what a career he had. I mean, obviously he was known for his more popular stuff, but it's like the stuff that he did that I didn't know him for, that was what I was more impressed with him. Let's see, stand-up comedian, actor, television host, best known obviously for his role of Danny Tanner on ABC's Full House. Ran from '87 to '95. Then the Netflix sequel Fuller House from 2016 2020, which showed that a decade later they still had a fan base and they were able to make a comeback with the all-time popular show. Let's see, he was a voice of narrator Ted Mosby on CBS's How I Met Your Mother, 2005, 2014. 89 and 97, the original, okay, the original, I repeat, host of America's Funniest Home Videos. And yeah, I just, that's all the stuff you best known him for. When you look back at his career, that's what you know. But there was so much, as we're going to get into it here, what this guy did that you didn't know about that he did, okay? And I think that's more impressive than, not more impressive, but I mean, just as impressive as the mainstream stuff. He's more known for his adult-oriented stand-up comedy because he started out as a stand-up comedian. And he really did dirty jokes, but when he got cast as Danny Tanner, he's the family dad, and then he's the clean guy host of America's Funniest Home Videos. So you kind of got the wrong idea of the guy. Where he was a blue comic that worked blue, who got thrown into these iconic dad roles, which didn't fit actually who he was, but they were so wildly popular, made him so much money that he went with it. But I remember Eddie Murphy, because he was known on Saturday Night Live for doing the Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood, the parody of Mr. Rogers and a Gumby skit. And then when you first heard his Delirious, he came out on stage. I don't do any of that Saturday Night Live shit here in concert. All right, you're in some nasty stuff tonight. It was because you can't do that stuff on TV. He's just letting up front, hey, you're in for a dirty concert here tonight, which I can't do it on TV, but live, we don't do any of that shit, Saturday Night Live shit. Let's see. Bob Saget put out a 2014 comedy album. That's what I'm talking about. Got nominated for a Grammy Award. And Long Lost Art, man, the comedy album. You can't drive around your car listen to those great comedy albums anymore because of free downloading. Now you got to tune in Netflix and watch a comedy special is what you got to do now, which, they had them back then too. But simultaneously with the special, you could release an album, but albums are a thing of the past. And I heard a big who was it, Paul Stanley from Kiss was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about nowadays you use albums as a promotional tool. You put them out for free, then you make up for it when it comes to the concert. Paul Stanley's like, well, why should I have to meet you halfway? It's my work. Why should I have to give you something for free that I should be charging you for? So they got into a big debate over it. Just it came down to, how you feel. I mean, is it illegal if you pay for a copy, then make a copy to give to your friend, or if you're mass producing it or putting it on the internet? And it was quite the discussion, but I mean, it came down to, how do you feel about what you're doing? Do you feel you should be paying for the work, or do you feel like if you download it for free is okay? Let's see. He was born in Philadelphia. His family moved to Virginia. And he said he gained his sense of humor from being a rebel because when you upload your family and just move to another part of the country, you got no family around, you got no friends around. And I've had that when I was young. My dad moved around a lot. I know what it's like to be thrown into a new school halfway through the year and have your dad screaming at you, "Hey, catch up with everybody else and get straight A's," like it's that easy. You got no friends, you got no family, you feel like a loner, and you kind of do turn to humor. If you can get people laughing, it's kind of how you make friends. So humor is always, I guess, a mechanism to get through tough times. You look for laughter. I'd say you make it through the tough times. Laughter is the best medicine. How many times we said that? After that, I guess his family moved to L.A. briefly, where he met. Here's what I know about him. I found this one interesting. Well, he was in L.A. He met Larry Fine of the Three Stooges and got a little bit friendly with him, and I guess heard a bunch of stories about the comedy business from. What better guy to hear from than Larry of the Three Stooges, right? I mean, there's a iconic trio right there that we all watched. So if you're gonna hear about the business, I guess you got to hear firsthand from somebody experienced it. I guess he originally wanted to be a doctor, and while he was at school, his English teacher was really impressed with his work and saw his potential and really urged him to pursue a career in film because he saw he really had a talent for it. So he attended Temple University film school. While attending there, he used to take the train down to New York City and performed at the famous The Improv and the Catch a Rising Star, performing stand-up comedy. From there, I guess he worked his way up to a short stint on CBS's morning program. And I guess after the short stint on CBS's morning program, we said this before, some people, it takes years and years and years in this business to taste a little bit of success. It's a really painful, drawn out thing to be a comedian. That's why you got to have it in your soul. You got to have it in your heart. Other people, they hit lightning in a bottle just like that. They're in the right place, right time. Things happen. Okay. So after a short stint on CBS's The Morning Program, Bob then tried out for cast members Danny Tanner on Full House. By the third season, it was top 3 in the Nielsen ratings. Okay, so there's a guy who's got how hard it is to have a successful sitcom on television. It's so difficult. I remember back when Dallas became this big show. Patrick Duffy's he didn't like it. He wanted his own thing, and he left the show to do his own thing, and really didn't get nothing big. And Larry Hagman had him over his house one night. He's like, "You didn't realize how hard it is to be on a top show on TV, did you fool?" And that's why they eventually brought him back. It was all a dream type thing. So, but yeah, man, right off the bat, man, second gig in mainstream comedy, and this guy's Danny Tanner on a top 3 sitcom on television. And at the same time, as if this isn't enough success for this guy, simultaneous while he was filming for that during the day, he was filming, I don't know what day or night or what he was doing, but it was at the same time he was on Full House. He decided to become the host of America's Funniest Home Videos. And all of a sudden that takes off and becomes one of the top shows. And now this guy's on 2 of the top shows on television, which to have one's unheard of. To have 2 is very difficult. To have 2 at the same time, I don't know if anybody else ever done it. I'd have to think hard on that one. Who else had like 2 of the top shows on TV at the same freaking time? I know right now what Steve Harvey, he's got a Family Feud and he's got the Steve Harvey Talk Show. I know there's very popular day programs, but I mean sitcom television, that's a whole different game, man. I don't know. Let's see. He tried directing for a while. He directed For Hope. It was a TV movie about his sister who passed away of an illness, and he did that about an illness. I guess in school he won an award. He did one about a young man who had facial surgery or something and reconstructive surgery, and that gained a lot of notoriety at school. That it was good for 1998. I guess was his big get out. He directed Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang, 2 big names in comedy. Unfortunately, the movie wasn't received that well, but once Artie Lang became popular on the Howard Stern show, then I guess it became kind of like a cult classic. You had to watch it. They went back and watched it, so it's become an underground hit where originally it wasn't that much of a hit. 2001, he starred on Raising Dad on the WB. That only lasted 1 season, so you have your big hits and you have your 1 season hits that don't go so well. There was one of them. 9 seasons though. He followed up as Ted Mosby on How I Met Your Mother, as we mentioned. So 9 seasons, man. That's a long run on TV right there. I take the 1 season, but hey, just get your foot in the door, be great. But let's see. Who knows? The world needs a new superhero. The movie I just put out. Who knows? I'm excited to see what that's going to lead to. I don't know what's going to lead to, but I think it's going to be big. Hopefully, you guys all watch it and it takes off. But back to Bob Saget, host of what was it? NBC's One versus 100 in 2006 to 2008. So it lasted a couple of seasons. An HBO special, That Ain't Right, dedicated to his dad that passed away. And let's see, 2010, HBO's Entourage. He was on playing a parody of himself. It was an MTV video, Rolling with Saget, by Jamie Kennedy and Stewart Stone. And I guess he uses that video to like open his concerts and stuff. It became like a big promotional piece for him that he used after, I guess, Jamie Kennedy and Stewart Stone did it about him. So apparently he was a big fan of the video. Let's see, wrote, directed, and starred in Farce of the Penguins, which I guess was a parody of March of the Penguins. Let's see, he did some work on Broadway for a while. The Drowsy Chaperone was one of the things he did on there, which, if you make it to Broadway, how many people make it to Broadway? That's not a bad place to be, You're in the movies, you're on Broadway. On Broadway. Let's see, 2009, the CBS sitcom Surviving Suburbia, that only lasted, again, one season. So, well, he had the big hits. He had a couple only one-season wonders, one-hit wonders, too. 2010, he was on the A&E series Strange Days. 2014, he wrote a book, The Dirty Dad, which I guess known for his, dad role on TV, but he was actually a dirty comic, which I guess maybe he went into it there. I don't know, but yeah, I guess if you had all these little kids that saw him on Full House and they're going out to his concert to see Danny Tanner, and all of a sudden he's doing all this dirty comedy, and parents are like, "What the heck is this? This ain't the guy on TV." But that's half the shock. That's half the fun, watching the look on people's faces when they expect one thing and you give them another. Like, hey, what the heck's going on here, man? I've had those moments. They're funny. Let's see, 2015 to 16, he guest starred on Grandfathered. I guess that was a show John Stamos was doing. That was his co-star from Full House. So he did a couple episodes on there for John. Got back to get back together. 2016 to 20, Fuller House on Netflix, which I didn't watch that, but I think it was more about the kids. I think he was in like the opening episode, and then he was on like the last episode to say goodbye, but he wasn't like a regular character. It was more, they went on to what the kids had done rather than what he was doing at the time. But he popped in as the dad, would always check on your kids, obviously. Then let's see, 2017, he did another special, 0 to 60, which I guess talking about probably I was 60 years old. He went from 0 to 60, and boom, it goes quick out there. Life's quick. 2019, ABC's Videos After Dark, he was the host of for a while. And let's see, Nashville Squares on Country Music Television. 3 appearances on Tell the Truth. So, there's a lot of stuff right there that, you didn't know he did. Okay, all these stuff, these one season shows that you didn't know he did, all you remember him for, was his great hits and everything. So it was a full career where you had your hits, you had your not so much hits, but those are the things that turn you into the person that you are. You learn from every bad event, and hopefully it makes the next one go a little bit easier because you learn from your past. Here's an interesting one. 2020, Saget launched his own podcast, Bob Saget's Here For You, which I have watched a few episodes. It was a very good podcast. He gets on all, he's got all the big names in comedy friends, where here I get to talk about him. I probably couldn't get many of them on as guests, where he had the star power where he's able to get him on. But, just talking about him, it's like you can bring up stuff where you probably couldn't. If I had him on as guest, I couldn't bring up some of the stuff I'm talking about, so it's almost funner just learning the facts about him than it is talking to him. Sure, it'd be cool to talk to him, but it's always good to hear the behind the scenes dirty stuff. And you can only do that in a podcast, that's for sure. Let's see. Here's another interesting one I know about him. He competed in season 4 of The Masked Singer, which I know, when he does these live concerts, I know he plays a guitar or something while he does these songs or whatever. And I think that's what he originally did when he started doing comedy. He took the train into New York. He did a version of the weeping guitar. He played it on the guitar, and to make the guitar weep, he poured a bottle of water over it to make it look like he was crying, or so that was the Joker. But I know he was somewhat of a musical artist, when he did comedy. But who knew he was a singer, that he could be on a show like that where they'd mask him up. You didn't know who was singing, and he could pull it off, make you think he was a singer, not a comedian. So, I mean, obviously he was an established singer. One of the funniest things I ever saw was when Comedy Central decided to do the roast of Bob Saget, and what a roast it was. Just everybody taking jabs at him, and that's when your friends love you, when they can poke fun at you. And just Gilbert Gottfried's rant when he went off about him. And I guess I've heard interviews with some of the comics. They say every roast you get, like, they'll give you, they'll tell you what the rules are. Like Charlie Sheen, when he did, he's like, say whatever you want about me. Okay, just don't make fun of my mother. That's my mom. Don't make fun of her. I know it's a roast, but don't do any jokes about my mom. And I guess only thing Bob Saget wanted for his roast was don't make fun of the Olsen twins. That was one of the things he did. Well, a comic, the first time they tell you can't do something, that just makes you want to do it twice as bad. Where the young comics, they're going to play by the rules and stay clear. The veteran comics, they know that's what you don't want me talking about. Well, that's the one I'm going for. Gilbert Gottfried, he just laid into the Olsen twins with his joke there. Where they walk into a bar, give us a couple of ass hurts, which when he first opened up, he talked about, which I checked into this, and there is no proof of this. This shows you how you can say the word allegedly and get away whatever the hell you want. But I guess it started out a Twitter rumor where he was arrested for drugs and raping a woman, which if you look at it, there's no truth about it. No proven truth about it anyway. But that shows you how rumors start. And I remember, who was it? Rod Stewart back in the 80s. He almost had his career ended by somebody started a rumor he blew his whole band's backstage and got a quart of cum in his stomach or something. And it was this big rumor. It was such a good rumor, like everybody was talking about. Wasn't an ounce of truth to it, but it was like, that shows you how rumors get started. But really hurt the guy and ruined his career. And it's like, shows you just hurting Bob Saget. There's no proof any of this ever happened, but a Twitter rumor can really get going. But Gilbert harped on the Twitter rumor because it's a roast. That's what they're for. It was, Bob Saget was arrested for drugging and raping a woman. And I don't know if it was true, but I didn't believe it for 1 second when someone told me Bob Saget was arrested for drugging and raping a woman. He just harped on it and harped on it. And at the end, he finally did the Olsen twins joke. Was the Olsen twins walk into a bar and say, give me a couple of ass hurts. The bartender says, how do you make an ass hurt? Well, Bob Saget gives you a glass of chocolate milk he just got done making. And then you wake up 3 hours later lying on your stomach. And that's how you make an ass hurt. It was genius. And it was so far past funny that even Bob Saget was cracking up. And it was to the point when something's so ridiculous, you got no comeback. You just got to agree with it. Bob was just like, yeah, he was just agreeing with it because it was so far past funny. That was all you could do, was agree with it. And let's see. Yeah, great times with Bob Saget. I mean, can I remember I think, like I said, he had two number one shows, Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, on at the same time. So to say this guy was rolling in some cash would be a serious understatement. And at the end of the roast, I think it said it best. His closing statement was, hey, you can say whatever you want about me, but kiss my $100 million ass. Okay, so man, the fact he's made more money than every other comic there combined probably just speaks for itself how talented the guy was right there. So let's see. Unfortunately, and well, hey, everybody lives a good life, and eventually we're all going to pass. That's part of life. January 9th, 2020. Just say that again. January 9th, 2022, at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, Florida. He was standing there. He was on a stand-up tour. The staff found him unresponsive in his room after he didn't check out. His family became concerned. They didn't check in with him. Responders showed up. They pronounced him dead at the scene by respondents at age 65 years old. I was checking into it. No drugs or anything like that. It was deemed natural causes that he passed away from. And how do you turn a bad into a good? Well, after he passed away, he asked, instead of, he had plenty of money, instead of flowers, they say in lieu of flowers or whatever. But if you wanted to pay tribute to Bob Saget, if you like what he gave, he asked for donations to the cause that his sister passed away from. and I think they raised something like it was like $900,000, and a foundation in his memory. They matched that $900,000 that people donated money to in his name. They matched it dollar for dollar. So, his death raised all kinds of money for the disease his sister passed away from, and that's how you leave a positive memory behind right there. And that's what I hope to do with my movie because, well, it's going to make you laugh. I heard a lot of people told me it's going to make you think too. And parental alienation and child support and split households, it's certainly not a laughing matter, but that's how I get my point across is by making you laugh about it. I also educate you about it. And my movie's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you think. So hopefully I can follow in the steps of guys like Bob Saget and bring you something good and change the world and make the world a better place. So look out for it. It's called The World Needs a New Superhero. It's going to be on Amazon Prime hopefully soon. And hey, I'm the new superhero in town, and you'll just have to check it out. And everybody said it was way more than they expected, so I hope it's more than you guys expect. All right, this is Funny.com podcast, man. We're discussing comedy. We're taking behind the scenes, and hope you're learning something. I'm learning something. I'm having fun with you guys. And until next time, keep laughing because laughter is the best medicine. Tell somebody a joke and bring their day up. It's better than bringing somebody down. All right. Until next week, I'll be laughing with you. Good night.